Nice, that'll be really good.
Cool. So I think whenever you're ready to admit people, Hannah, go for it.
Do it all at once, or should I do sort of
All at once. All at once.
Okay, we got
Don't hold back.
now. Nice.
You have to start playing catch up as they all join.
I want to see if I can recognize any names.
Here we go.
Now give it 30 seconds or so before I start chatting. But hello, everybody that's already joined.
Hi. Oh yeah, everyone joins muted, don't they?
Yeah.
Cool. Right, I guess I'll just kick off then. So hello, everybody, and welcome to week 2 of Thrive 2020. So for those of you who aren't aware, Thrive is a 2-week festival full of free events, including interactive workshops like this one we're doing today, which is here to help you upskill yourself. We also have star-studded panel events to inspire you, and even a COVID-secure Discover Oxford walking tour, which is allowing you to discover independent businesses across Oxford and unlock exclusive discounts during your daily walks. So there is something for everybody at Thrive 2020. Today, we're extremely grateful to be welcoming you from across the globe for our How to Start a Side Hustle event. In today's session, you're going to learn how to make your ideas come to life, and you'll walk away from this interactive webinar with your own website showcasing your work. So before we begin, I just need to do a few bits of housekeeping. I first want to let you know that we have a team on hand to jump in case of any technical difficulties, and there are designated individuals here to answer your logistical questions. This is an interactive session, so we'd love for you to turn on your cameras, get involved with the conversation. We are recording, so if you don't want to be involved in that recording, just leave your cameras off, it's fine. The recording is just there so that you can catch up later on if you want to. We'll be taking audience questions throughout as well, so please either raise your hand and then we'll come to you and ask you to actually open up your mic and chat in person, or if you'd rather just put something in the chat box, please feel free to do so. Please do use the chat box respectfully though. We won't be tolerating any harassment or bullying, and if you do, we'll just kind of be removed from the event. So please don't, we don't want to do that. So yeah, without further ado, I'll hand straight over to Emma Mary to kick off today's session.
Thank you, Becca. Hi, everyone. It's so lovely to be here. So as Becca said, my name is Omamari. And yeah, this session is going to be all about how to start a side hustle whilst studying. But whilst studying is in brackets because you can start a side hustle whenever. So yeah, I'm going to share my screen with you all and then we'll get started. Okay, so you should all be able to see it. If you can't see my screen, put something in the chat and then we'll know. Also, if I talk too loud, if I talk too fast or you can't hear me or whatever, just let me know as well. Let us know in the chat because it'll be good to have feedback. And also throughout, I'm going to be asking people some questions so it can be interactive. And I think it's nice to have that kind of rapport and back and forth. So feel free to get involved, share your ideas and everything. So yeah, so like as I mentioned and as Becca mentioned, this is Thrive Festival. So festival all about entrepreneurship, bring your ideas to life and all that good stuff. And we're going to be focusing on how to start a side hustle while studying. So, okay, so who am I? You might be wondering, okay, who's this lady just speaking about starting a side hustle? So my name is Omamari Atefia, pronounced as Omamari. And I'm the founder of Remote Grad and also Envision. And Remote Grad is a platform helping university students and recent graduates get into the world of remote work because it's just such a new world. And I started because I fell in love with the world of remote working about 5 years ago now when I had my first ever remote job. And then Envision is a web agency that I started earlier this year, and we focus on building websites for mission-driven, purpose-led companies. And then I'm also a Lewagan Coding Bootcamp graduate and a philosophy and Spanish graduate. and the pre-corona remote working advocate. That's like my claim to fame. Like I love remote working before we were forced into it. And then I'm also a landmark curriculum for living graduate, which is all about self-development and the idea of becoming your best self. So, but then you might be wondering, okay, who am I really? Like, what is my story? I mean, we all know these like universities and organizations, but I think more interesting is, okay, who am I really and what am I about? And to answer that, okay, so this is a photo of me when I was 3 years old. Okay, so I would say that I'm a very deeply adventurous, curious soul. I was born in East London in Tower Hamlets to British Nigerian parents, and I have a desire to inspire people to remember their brilliance. So through remembering the truth of who they are, living lives that are aligned with what they love, and I'm really interested in as well how we can use the internet to create deeply fulfilling lives and careers which are aligned with who we are. I also love food, mysticism, traveling, open green spaces, pretending I can dance, and Oprah. So those are a few fun facts about me. So yeah, I think that as we're moving into, I guess we're coming out of the end of 2020 or moving into 2021, it's really interesting to see how more of us are really seeking connection, not just to the people in our lives, but also to the brands, our workplaces, the companies we connect, like we interact with. So I think really it's a good question to start asking yourself, what is your story? What makes you unique? What makes you stand out? Because I think the more that we do this, the more we attract like-minded people to be, I guess, friends with, but also in terms of clients, in terms of companies that we want to work with. It's like when you shine brightly, when you become a magnet, you can easily attract people and things to you that are aligned with who you are. So that's a question for you to really, I guess, have going on in the back of your mind is, what is my story? What makes me unique? And not be afraid to share it. So yeah, we have coronavirus. Coronavirus is really just, I feel like it's really just flipped this whole year on its head. And it's almost like we're on a roller coaster and we can't get off. We're just all on it. And I think what this is really showing us is that a lot of life is really about accepting where we are, but also choosing what we have control over. And I think, okay, so this is why I think that a side hustle, and as we've seen, so many people have been starting side hustles in this time, because it's like being at home, having more time at home because we're not spending as much time commuting, we have time to really think about what it is that we love to do, what it is we prefer to do, the things that, because many of us have ideas, but often we put it off because of fear or because we're too busy or because we don't have the resources. But actually being at home now, there's nowhere to go. It's like, okay, maybe let me try some of the ideas I've always wanted to try, or let me learn a new skill I've wanted to learn. And I think that's where, when I think of side hustle, that's what I think of, is how to make money doing what you love, how to combine all the different elements and create a product or service that lets you make money doing something that you love and that you enjoy and that you're interested in. So that's another thing to keep in mind, is what kind of things do you love? What kind of things do you enjoy doing? And like I said before, I really think that, like as Selena Gomez, I love this gift because I just think that we're all really unique. We all have special talents and gifts and stories and experiences that really make us who we are. And I think the more we put it out there, the more that we show it, the easier it is to actually create side hustles, because then your side hustle's coming from a place of, this is what I enjoy, this is my gift to the world, and you attract people who naturally enjoy that as well. So my approach to side hustles and creating businesses and projects on the internet is coming from a place of, what do I like, what do I enjoy, and then letting it come out from there. So You may have come across this idea before, and it's a Japanese concept, and it's called Ikigai, and it means reason for being. So if you split the word into two, Iki means life, and Gai means value or worth. And I think this is really important to think about, because if you are, for example, a university student or recent graduate, or you're beyond that age, beyond that stage, we often spend a lot of time thinking, okay, what is it that I want to do? There's so many things I want to do. Which path should I head down? Or like, there's just so many things, and at times it can be so overwhelming and so scary and so daunting. But I think that when we really look at it, okay, as what are the things that light me up? And the next few slides, I'm going to give you a chance to write these things down. But I think when we start to really think of it from a place of what lights me up, what do I enjoy talking about, what does the world need, it becomes easier to find your Ikigai, or to find projects that are related to the different things that you're interested in. Because we all have those topics that we could just go on and on about, that our families are probably sick of us talking about, but deep down inside it just makes us feel so excited and so alive. And I think as the world is changing, becoming more digital, we're realizing it's easier than ever to connect people who are like-minded. So why wouldn't you want to buy a product or service from someone who shares a common interest, if that's there? And that's why you see all these huge marketplaces like Etsy, so many small businesses are created on platforms like Etsy, because people have a chance to really do what they love and get paid for it. You've got Etsy, you've got YouTube, you've got TikTok, and like there's this whole thing about the creator economy, where people are now being able to use what they create, their talents, to create a living. So this is something really important to think about, and this leads us into the first activity. But before we go into the first activity, this is just a visual representation of Ikigai. So if you can see, it's like a quadruple Venn diagram showing how you can find your intersection of Ikigai by looking at what you love, combined with what you're good at, combined with what you can be paid for, combined with what the world needs. So at the very center, you've got the Ikigai. So finding something that fits in with all four is, I guess, the ideal. But then also you can see how, like with these intersections, these could all be projects or mini side hustles that you come up with, that you enjoy or you benefit from in different ways. So feel free to screenshot this if you find it useful. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Oh, okay. JC said you love Oprah. Nice. Oh, and you've been looking for your Ikigai for years. Nice. So I hope this session helps you to kind of like begin to discover it. Yeah, so like I said, if you have any questions, just let me know. If you want me to slow down or go back, let me know. Okay, well, I've come to the next slide. So like I said, Remote Grad is a platform that helps university students and recent graduates find junior remote jobs and start like side hustles and projects, but all within the remote working world. And so the concept I've come up with is basically, so if you go back to this Venn diagram, as you can see, you've got what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. And then so I've kind of related it to, okay, as a university student or a recent graduate, how can you use this concept to create your Ikigai? And what you can see is the one kind of circle that's different is, rather than saying what you can be paid for, here you've got a digital skill that you have or want. And the reason why I've included digital skill rather than saying what you can be paid for is because as we can see, all businesses have to go online. They have to have at least some sort of digital component to survive now. So everything that you provide digitally can be paid for. So that's why I think it's better to think of it in terms of a digital skill, because most companies are going to need some sort of digital skill in order to thrive. Okay, so Claire, I've just seen Claire said, how do you use the Ikigai concept effectively? So you can use it, okay, so how I envision using it is basically just like asking yourself the questions, okay, what do I love? What does the world need? What can I be paid for? The digital skill, and then what I'm good at. And you can either draw the circles out, fill it out as a Venn diagram, or you can just ask yourself these questions and come up with different intersections. But what I can do is I can do an example. If someone wants to volunteer, I can do an example just to show how it applies in real life. But the activities are basically around this. So the first activity, and I'm going to stop talking for a little bit and give you about, I'd say 7-8 minutes to really think about your interests and passions. And the reason I say interests and passions is because I know sometimes it can be hard for people to think, okay, what do I love? So I think an easier way to do it is to think about, these are kind of prompt questions. So what do I feel I could talk about forever? What topics make me light up inside? What are the subjects of my last 5 videos on YouTube that I've watched? What do I often look at on Instagram? And the reason I say this is because, as this quote says, you can determine what you value by where you spend your time. So if you go through and look at those kind of running themes in terms of your social media, what you talk about, you'll be able to see what you actually value and what you're interested in. And the thing is, as we've seen, because every business has to be online, this doesn't have to be serious. I mean, topics that make you light up could be cats, it could be cheese, it could be, I don't know, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be serious. But what we'll see is when you combine your different interests and passions with digital skills, there'll always be some sort of market you can tap into. So I'm going to give you about, like I said, 7-8 minutes to write this down for yourself. And then if people are happy to share, I can get people to unmute themselves and share. And yeah, again, feel free to ask any questions that you have. Sorry about that. Okay, so Kushi said sports is something I could talk about forever. Great. JC said love, sustainability, decluttering, organization, food, helping others. Awesome. Yeah, I feel like I think another thing that we're seeing in the world is that maybe our grandparents and parents stayed in the same career for 50, 60 years. But as we're seeing, because of the internet, it's okay and it's good to have many different interests and many different passions. Like I have so many different interests. Like I'm interested in tech, I'm interested in entrepreneurship, I'm also interested in slow living, I'm also interested in travel, architecture. And in the past I've thought, oh my gosh, I'm just so interested in so many things, like da, da, da. But I think it's actually it's a good thing. It's a blessing to have multiple interests. We're like multi-dimensional human beings. We're not just like people, like 2D characters that only have like one interest and then it's like that's it. Like you're allowed to have many interests. I think that's another thing it's really good to have lots of different areas that you are interested in, that you love to talk about and learn more about. It's really, really good. And it makes you more interesting actually as well to speak to people. Okay, nice. Pauline said, I'm also interested in architecture and a self-builder. Oh, cool. What have you built? Oh, and then you connect well with Amanda, because Amanda's also architect.
I know. Yeah, I built my own house. It was a bit of a tortuous journey, but
wow.
yes, we need to talk some more.
Yeah, that's so cool. Not many people can say they've built their own house. That's incredible. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, Claire said, could talk about all day. People inspiring others like me up, bike related videos, often look at fashion on Instagram. Nice. Yeah, that's really cool. I love the diversity. Also, I love food as well. I love watching like street food videos on YouTube. They're just so amazing, and like learning about different cuisines. I think that's really interesting. Yeah, that's amazing that you built your own house, Pauline. So, so cool. And another thing I love actually is, I don't know if you've come across it, Pauline, or anyone else, but tiny homes. So yeah, like, so they're a bit bigger than caravans, but they're smaller than a normal house. They're kind of almost like flat pack homes, but that's really reducing it because it can be very creative. You can do lots of different things. And I think it's really interesting when you look at the world and how more and more of us are wanting to go back to like slow living, like only using what you need rather than just having excess. And I think also remote working is a huge part of that, because you can work and live from anywhere. So yeah. So, oh, the plumbing scares you. Yeah, that would be interesting to hear how you did the plumbing for your own house. Okay. Claudia said, okay, food, nutrition, travel, Asian cultures, encouraging helping others, sustainable and waste reducing living. Nice. Yeah, it's really cool. I feel like the world has moved, we're becoming more and more in touch with ourselves and wanting to connect with others on a deeper level than just like the superficial kind of levels that we've been doing, and realizing that actually we're all connected. So how I treat you is how I'm treating myself, how I view you is how I view myself. So by reflecting to others what we want on the inside, it actually benefits all of us. Okay, David said animations, cartoons, fictional characters. I can go on about them all day. Nice. Dean said, literally my answer for all 4 questions, exercise and nutrition. Nice. It's really good. And so many of us are really, I found I've been like, I started like just doing like stretching and yoga. And I guess because we're not rushing anywhere, we have more time to connect with ourselves and have like longer morning routines and actually like sit and eat our food mindfully and not like eating and like sending an email at the same time. It's really cool. No, thank you so much everyone for sharing. It's really nice reading what you're interested in and your passions. Okay, I'll give it a like another minute and then we'll move on to activity 2. And like even just reading this alone is making me, now my curiosity is piqued about everyone's background. It's like, oh, I wonder, okay, I can see this name, I can see that name. I wonder what else there is about them. Okay, Heather, mine have similarities to others that are coming up. Veganism, sustainability, social justice and equity, health and wellness, including nutrition, mindfulness and movement. Nice. Yeah, I think mindfulness is a huge one. That's like a big theme for like everyone this year, isn't it? Wanting to live more mindfully and like in touch with yourself, and actually knowing how to use social media in a way that's healthy to, I guess, connect and work, but also not let it like overtake our lives. This is really cool. Okay, we'll move on to the next activity. Yes, making tech work for us rather than the other way around. Yes, I agree, Heather. I think I like the saying that at the end of the day, technology is just a tool. It's like a knife in a surgeon's hand. It can be used for great things, but in a criminal's hand, it can be used for terrible things. It's just, the tool is a tool. It depends on who's using it, their intentions and motivations. Okay, nice. Thank you so much, everyone. So I'm going to move on to activity 2. Okay, so now activity 2 is about discovering your core digital skills. And I'm sure many people already have digital skills. Another thing, part of being a university student or studying in higher education, means that we've already got so many skills that can be transferred digitally. It's just a case of recognizing them. So on the right, I've got a list of different skills that can be done digitally. So we have writing, we have web development, software development, web design, digital marketing, social media management, graphic design, translation, paid ads, like paid social media ads, editing, copywriting, sales, customer support, virtual assistants. So these are all digital skills. And if we go back to the this remote grad version of Ikigai, these are digital skills that you can combine them with what you are interested in, what people need, what you're good at, because all of these, the topics that everyone's listed, they have to be done online in some sort of way to reach the masses. So, and also if there are any other digital skills that I haven't included here, please let me know and I can also include them for future webinars, but these are just what I've thought off the top of my head. Yeah, so it'd be great for you to write down. You can write it in the chat or on your notebook, what you're most confident in, which skill you would like to develop further, what you could provide a service in, especially as a side hustle. What could you provide a service in that would bring value to people based around what you already enjoy? So I don't want to rush ahead, but I'm already just excited because everyone's put so many amazing ideas. But for example, okay, so Dean, you said that you're really interested in exercise and nutrition. So there's so many things you can do with that. You could, for example, if you had a digital skill of social media management, you could create a side hustle where you provide social media management specifically for like sports related companies. So for local gyms, I mean, right now many of them are struggling, so they have to be innovative and come up with ways to do things online, because I mean, if not, like businesses will struggle. But I mean, that's something that you could look at. Or with nutrition, doing social media management for companies that are based around like the idea of nutrition and helping people eat well. Oh yes, Stephen said search engine optimization. Thank you. That's another one. So SEO is huge because companies and websites need to rank really highly on Google in order to be seen. Okay. So I'll give about 5-6 more minutes for this, and feel free to share in the chat as well what skills you have or you're confident in or you would like to develop more of. Because another thing about a side hustle is that you don't have to be an expert to provide a service on something. You can be learning something as well as providing the service for it, because that's what we're all doing, we're all learning as we go. Something that comes to mind, for example, Pauline, you built your own house. You could create like a service where you teach people, a course where you teach people how to build their own house. And so many people would love that because you've actually done it. So you know exactly what you're talking about, taking people through the step-by-step. Or you could have consulting where you do like online Zoom consultations for people who want to build their own house. And because it's really niche and it's really, this is something you've poured your heart and soul into, when people see your passion and the story behind it, yeah, exactly. No, that's awesome. Definitely explore it. Yeah, so when people see the story behind it, it's like, oh, this is so interesting. And if someone really wants to do it, why wouldn't they buy your service or your product? Okay, Goal said, what could you do with the digital skills of writing, editing, and copywriting? Okay, good question. So I think you can do a lot. It depends what areas are you interested in? I think that was a good question as well, to know how you can merge the two. Because you could do, for example, with writing, there's and I'll show you a bit later the different platforms you can use to create these like side hustles. But writing, you could easily have a paid newsletter. Yeah, so you could write articles. You could have a paid newsletter, because I know, especially if you want it to be just a side hustle, you can do something that you grow along. But if you wanted this to be a full-time thing, you could look at having a paid newsletter where you yeah, like you could write really long newsletters, spend a lot of time, and you could charge people a monthly fee to be subscribed to your newsletter. Yeah, exactly. Heather said you could support other businesses with PR, write captions for small businesses on social media. JC said, yeah, really true. And when you then focus on an area that you're really interested in, it's a benefit for you, because this is something that you're genuinely interested in. It's not something you're just doing just for the sake of it. And people feel that energy. We really feel when someone's passionate about what they're talking about, because it's just such a nice feeling. And I think that's something that comes from being yourself, owning your story, and letting that shine through. Okay, spend about 2 more minutes and then we'll actually go to the card platform to show how to build like just a basic one-page portfolio to showcase your story, showcase the service or the product you want to sell, and a bit more about you, because having a landing page on the internet is really important, but I'll explain that a bit later. And another thing is that, the same with the interest, it's okay to have many digital skills. I mean, obviously there's going to be one or two that you're stronger in than others, but it's completely fine. Like, for example, when I got my first ever remote job in my second year of uni, that was in 2016. So I was teaching English online to Chinese students. And that was because I had done tutoring. So it just came naturally to teach. And I remember when I was doing that, it really blew my mind, because I was like, I'm here in Bethnal Green teaching kids in like a random village in China. Like, it was just such a huge, like, you know, when you have your mind opens in a different way, and I was like, wow. And because also I went to Durham and then I transferred to King's, and like there is pretty much, okay, you're going to be pushed into, well, not pushed, but it's very much you go into consulting or teaching. The idea of remote work wasn't really around, but I mean, it didn't really come around, I think, especially within universities, until coronavirus really then pushed it and was like, okay, you have to learn remotely and work remotely. But yeah, so I started off teaching English, and then I did a bit of social media management for an entrepreneur who was doing, he had an online store, and then I learned how to code and learn web design with Lewagen Coding Bootcamp, and then now I have my web agency where I work with other freelancers. So I'll like have the project, so do the sell and ask the client, okay, what is it that you want, what are you looking for, and then do the sell, then work with other freelancers who actually then build the website and design it. So that's just me explaining that you can have different digital skills and focus on them in at different points. And another thing with my web agency called Envision is that the focus is really on building websites for companies that are creating a legacy of good in the world. So in various industries, companies are doing amazing things. So there's companies that are, for example, a tech company that wants to focus on helping people to connect better, or like right now, the current client that we're working with is like a French-based photography events company, in the sense that they help photographers. Once a photographer takes an image, they have software to help that image be sent directly to the person who is the photo has been taken off, if that makes sense. So it makes that process of receiving photos from parties and events smoother. So for example, we're working with them, and their whole thing is about making the party experience a lot smoother and easier for the person who has the photos taken of them. So that's just me explaining, okay, you can start off with one digital skill and then move to others. You don't have to just be stuck on one. Okay, does anyone else want to share their digital skills before we move on? Okay, we'll move on. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how exactly to build, like I said, a portfolio page, a landing page. Essentially, that's your personal corner of the internet. That is a snapshot of who you are, what you're working on, your side hustle. And the beauty of Card is that you can use Card to build any type of page. It's really versatile, as you see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the process. I'm going to also put this in the chat so you can also do it alongside me. Pleasure. Okay, yeah, so everyone should be able to see it as try.card.co/remotegrad. If you can't, let me know. And before we do that, I'll show you my version, my card. Okay, yeah, so this is my card. So I introduced myself. I said, hi, I'm Omamiri Atefia, pronounced Omamiri, and I'm an adventurous, curious soul, born and raised in Tower Hamlets, East London, to British Nigerian parents with a desire to inspire people to remember their brilliance. And then I said in brackets, also known to be a fierce know-it-all and perfectionist at times. And then I said, I'm learning to surrender and dance with life. I like simplicity, calm and ease. I like to write, reflect, explore, eat and listen to music. And then I love discovering the intersection between the internet, authenticity, learning how we can create fulfilling lives and careers which merge the two. I absolutely love learning about self-development, spirituality, energy work, and mysticism. I've repeated myself, also known to be a fierce know and perfectionist at times. This is why it's good to proofread. And then, yeah, so explaining what I'm doing currently. So currently helping university students and recent graduates learn how to use the internet to find and land a junior remote job and digitally upskill themselves. And then a boutique web agency, like I mentioned, where we build websites powered by Webflow for mission-driven, purpose-led, future-focused individuals, companies, and organizations. And then just some of the links, and then photos, because photos are a good way to get an insight into kind of who a person is. So some of my photos from traveling in South America and in China. And then, yeah, this is a huge family photo here at the bottom. So as you can see, it's a simple page that gives you a quick insight into who I am, because as you know, we're always on, a lot of us spend a lot of time on the internet, so we need something that's quick and makes it easy for someone to immediately know. And the beauty about Card is then you can add integrations to it. So you could easily add a payment system when you decide what you want your side hustle to be, or you can add like you can let people book consultations. For example, if you wanted to do consulting as a service, they can book like a Zoom consultation to get to know you, and you can have forms and things like that. But I'm just going to show you a simple page, but then feel free to explore in your own time. Okay, so when you come onto the website Card, I'm already logged in, but you would essentially just create an account and then choose a starting point. So this is where you want to build a page from scratch, and then dashboard is where all the pages or the websites that you've built will be stored. So if we go to choose a starting point, remember to let me know if I'm going too fast or you want me to repeat anything. So yeah, so the beauty about Card again is that because we want it to be quick and we don't want to spend too much time, overthinking, they have lots of templates that you can use, which is great because it is just a case of you putting in your photo and changing the text. And this is one thing I would really suggest, is that you don't overthink it. You just go for it, and you choose something now, and then you can make modifications later on. But yeah, so as you can see, they've got lots of different styles. Okay, someone said something in the chat. Okay, because she said, wow, this seems amazing. Is there possibility to change the template once you've made your first draft? Of course. What I'm coming from a place of is, how we sometimes we just overthink things before we do it. So I'm just saying, just choose something and then let it be out there, share it on your social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, so people know what's going on, and then you can make it, perfect and all that stuff. But sometimes it's good to push yourself out there. David said thoughts on Wix. Yeah, Wix is great as well. Yeah, completely great. I think it's just a case, because there's so many different platforms, it's just a case of choosing one, setting yourself a day or a couple of hours to do something and put it out there. So we're not spending too much time trying to choose. So yeah, as you can see, there's lots. So if you're going to be using Card to build a portfolio page, I'd say use the profile template, because this just gives an insight into who you are. I'll click on one. Let's go with Samantha. So as you can see, Samantha just has a simple photo of herself, her name, what she stands for, and then she's got a form so people can sign up to her newsletter, then all the links to her social media. So what I'll do is actually select Samantha's one so you can see how easy it is. So for example, here you would actually upload an image. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm going to use this photo. Okay, and then it's just so really easy to change. So you click on the text that you want to change, and you come here and you say, hi, Tanya. People to remember brilliant. And then there's lots of formatting you can do. So if you wanted to underline, you would do it how it looks. So for example, underline, you put 2 underscores before it, and then it would underline it. If you want to highlight something, as you can see here, you put 2 equal marks before and after. As you can see, so it's highlighted. So it's really simple because all the instructions are here. It's just a case of like following it. What else? But I guess because this is more of like the heading, it'll just be with bold like this, and then you can change the colors and the font and everything else. But I'd say for now, the focus would just be on getting the content that you want on, and then you can do all the formatting and everything afterwards. And then, yeah, Card allows you to have a form so you can collect you can create an email list, and then you do that through an email provider such as MailChimp or there's so many, but you can just choose whichever works for you. So this is an example of, yeah, a simple page showing who you are, a bit about you, and allowing you to create a newsletter. And then you'd put your links, social media links. So whatever your Twitter is, you'd link that, Facebook, and then you can add all sorts of links. So all sorts of links that you'd want, you can add them, they're all here. Okay, let's see. So Dean said, did you say Card only allows for one single landing page? No, so most of the templates are one page, but what you can do is you can add sections and you can add other pages and link them. It's just a great starting point for one landing page. And then Pauline said, depending on the business, is it sometimes better to keep yourself in the background while still highlighting values of the company? I think this is really up to you, but what I will say is when we think about especially when we think about within like small businesses, you know how over coronavirus more and more of us have been connected with small businesses. The businesses that we really like are the ones that we can see ourselves in and connect with. So that's just something to think about. If you think about maybe things that you've bought recently, not from big companies, but smaller companies, think about, okay, what caused me to buy from them? What really attracted me to them? And often you'll find it's maybe a quirk or something unique about them that they allowed you to see. And that also, this takes a lot of bravery and courage, because sometimes it is scary to put yourself out there, but the more you do, the more you attract people who you want to work with or who you connect with on a deeper level. And so I'm saying this myself, still learning the process, because yeah, it can be very intimidating, but I find the more practice it in little ways, the easier it becomes. Okay, Becca said sections are a really cool feature. It can feel confusing at first, but it's actually super simple. Yeah. And Becca, maybe we'll get Becca, you can share Listen Up. So Becca has a podcast called Listen Up, which is amazing. And she created a page for it on Card. So maybe you can show that a bit later. That'll be really inspiring. And then JC said, are all of these resources free? So Card is free for certain aspects. But if you want to like publish it to a custom domain, so for example, my website is on my domain, omamriatefia.com, which I bought from Namecheap. But Card is really cheap because it's only $19 for the whole year. And like $19 is what, £12 or something? So when you think about, that's like £1 a month or something. So it's really cheap when you think about it. Especially if you're starting a side hustle, you don't want to spend a lot of money. Something like Card is a great platform because you can put different landing pages out there, see what works, and yeah, just adapt and learn as you go, because things don't have to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect when you start. It's just putting something out there, not overthinking it, and then learning as you go. Okay, how much does it cost to have your website on a domain? So my personal website, I think, how much was it? My domain, I think it cost, don't quote me on this, but I think it was like 20 or 25 pounds, something like that, for the whole year. So basically, so you basically buy it from a domain provider, so like Namecheap or GoDaddy, and you set it up like that. But even if you just use Card's free version, it will be on the .card subdomain. So it would be like this, omamriatefia.card.co. That's what the domain would be like on a free version. I mean, that's fine as well. But then if you wanted to actually have a service, then it would be great to actually pay for a custom domain. Okay, Becca said 10 minutes to the scheduled end of the session. We can, okay, yeah, sorry, that was to me privately. Thank you. Okay, and then Bjorna, I think I'm pronouncing your name right. Sorry if I'm not. Let me know how to pronounce it phonetically. You said, how is this card page in comparison to Google Sites? I'm not actually too sure. Probably they're similar, I wouldn't know. But what I would say is most times the platform doesn't really matter. It's just a case of getting something out there, especially in the beginning stage. It's just getting your idea out there so people can see and know what you're offering, what you're about. But I'm not too sure about that. Okay, Amanda said Google Sites is fairly rigid in terms of design. Okay, yeah. So if you really do like design, then Card is a great place because you can do quite a lot with it. Has anyone actually, as I've been talking, has anyone actually created anything that they would want to show? Okay, no, yeah. Okay, so Becca will do listen up a bit later, but before we do, so part of the reason I'm going through this quite quickly is because this is really mainly to like pique your interest and show you what's out there, and then you can be free to explore all the different possibilities. Okay, David said, I've got my art page, it's Instagram, but I do want to get a website up and running. Perfect. Yeah, then use Card is perfect for you. And what I want to show you is, yeah, so this. So back to the idea of side hustle. So basically combining what you're good at, what you enjoy, what you're passionate about with a digital skill, because a digital skill is something you can get paid for. And then, for example, these are different platforms you can use. So perhaps you've considered starting a podcast. There's so many different platforms you can use. You've got Anchor, you've got all these different platforms. So these are, if you want to screenshot it or take a note, if this is something you've been thinking about. Another digital, I guess, yeah, digital skill or product idea is having a private community, because private communities are like closed, I guess you can say, cocoons where you can share information, share your knowledge about a specific topic, and actually be paid for it. So for example, Circle is a new one, but it's really good because you can create different pricing plans. So what people see when they're on the £10 membership, for example, is different from what they'd see on the £20 membership or the £30 membership. And if we go back to how you're going to be like intersecting this with what you enjoy. Like I remember, okay, so Heather, I remember you shared that your similarities are veganism, sustainability. So for example, you can have a private community, because I've been actually exploring veganism and like vegetarianism, and it's really fun, all the different meal plans you can come up with. You could easily have a community where you a private community where you post recipes. Like you say, okay, it's going to be £15 a month, and I will send you like 3 or 4 different recipes of how to make so and so dishes. Like that's a great idea where you're combining what you enjoy with a digital skill or digital like product or service. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so that's just an idea to do it. Okay, so Dean said, I'm aware of and a member of numerous private communities on Facebook. How would these sites differ? So for example, Circle would differ from Facebook because on Circle you could charge directly. Like Facebook, so I ran the remote grad community on Facebook, and I started it in March 2019 and recently closed it, and it grew to about 900 members. And Facebook is good because you've already got loads of millions, billions of people already on Facebook. So it's easy for people to find your community. But then if we're thinking about, okay, as a side hustle, you want to charge because you want it to be sustainable for yourself. If you're putting all this time and energy into it, you want to have that balance of the money being reciprocated to help you sustain it. So that's why you've got platforms like Circle, which make it easy for community leaders to create an income from what they're doing. Because I think, especially when it comes to side hustle, we always want to think in terms of sustainability and like sustainability for ourselves, not like in terms of the earth, but for ourselves. And if we're going to be pouring into something and creating and bringing ideas to life, you want to make sure that your time is being valued in the form of money or whatever it is for you. And these platforms make it easy for you to do that. So I hope that answers your question, Dean. Yeah, so thanks. Becca said she'll share this recording around so you'll have it. Okay, yeah, so these are platforms for podcasters and private communities. Yeah, Mighty Networks is also a really good one. There's actually a lot of big companies that use these platforms for their communities to really create that sense of, yeah, like getting to know people. And another thing with Facebook is that it can be hard to have a community on there because sometimes, because of the way it's been built, sometimes posts and things can get lost. Whereas these platforms, they're really community specific. So you have like general areas, you have like smaller breakout rooms and things like that. So that's something else to keep in mind. Okay, awesome. And then, okay, yeah, and then this one is having a course. If you wanted to create a course based around what you're passionate about and you're interested in, you've got all these different platforms. So you can create a course on Podia, on Teachable, and Thinkific. So if you go back to some of the interests that people have. Okay, I remember, so JC, you said you love like decluttering, organization, creating a course where people, you create like a, I don't know, full module course showing people how to declutter their wardrobe and like get their wardrobe up to scratch. Like people would love that because that's something that can be really overwhelming for people. Claire, you said that you could talk about food all day. Again, you could create some sort of course showing people how to create recipes or something around food. I'm just trying to think, like there's so many different ways you can take it. It's really a case of thinking, okay, what do I enjoy and what platforms are out there that make it easy for me to do it. Claudia said encouraging and helping others. You could easily do like some sort of coaching, like motivational course where you help people work through their blocks, their fears and things like that. And using these platforms make it easier because they've already got people like us in mind who want to start different projects. So a lot of the technology already has everything you would need. And then, and then on the right, we have written content, so platforms for writers. So Substack is a really popular one that lets people have paid newsletters and grow communities around that. You've got Medium. There's a lot. And really, Substack I've actually seen and heard quite a lot of good things about. People are putting written content out there regularly and creating incomes from that. For example, David, you talk about animations, cartoons, and fictional characters. You could easily have some sort of newsletter where you do case studies on amazing animations that you've come across, or cartoons that you're loving at the moment for fellow cartoon lovers. Another platform that's also really good is Patreon. You might have come across it. Oh, sorry, I just put it to Becca. It should be to everyone. Yeah, so Patreon, you might have seen like YouTubers where they're like, sign up to my Patreon, but basically, yeah, fundraising, but actually it's more than fundraising. It lets people share the content and create the content that they want and actually get paid for it, because you can sign up for different tiers. So it's really good in that sense. It's really flexible to let creators do whatever they want with it. Okay, so I'm aware of time. So yeah, we've come to the end now. I really hope you've enjoyed it. And as I said before, Becca, it would be great if we can see if you can show people your, what's it called? Listen Up page that you made of cards. So I'll stop my share. Oh, okay. I'll open it up. Yeah, so I did it was in May or June, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was early summer sometime.
Yeah, so I did an interactive webinar like this where I took people through the process of how to create a personal landing page, show off what you're working on. And Becca at the time was starting up Listen Up podcast, which is all about talking about kind of the social themes and issues that we all face as just living in 21st century society. So some of the themes are to do with like racism, ableism, right? Body image. If it loads, let's see. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, and Becca also is so talented and did the illustration. It's so amazing. So as you can see, it's a showcase and insight into the Listen Up podcast. So the show dedicated to opening up real conversations on some of society's biggest discussions and cultural issues. Awesome. And then, as you can see, it makes it very easy for people to then actually listen to the podcast on any one of the platforms, follow on Instagram, learn about Listen Up, the voices behind Listen Up. So yeah, I can't remember who asked the questions about having multiple pages, but yeah, this shows that you can have multiple pages and multiple sections as well. And it's really easy to update and edit, isn't it, Becca?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely need to go in and update it, but it's really simple once you kind of get the hang of it and figure out how you link to each page and how you use like the hashtags and stuff to get through it. It's so quick and easy to update it.
Yeah.
And that's a completely free one as well. We haven't paid anything for that.
Yeah, exactly, because it's on their card. Yeah, so that's perfect. So that's amazing. And then it's such a great way you can share this on your, you can share this with people, communities you're in, career communities you're in, on social media, on LinkedIn. And it's just such an easy way for people to see what you're working on, what you're about. Okay. Sean said, what precautions do you put in place to protect yourself should you encounter problems with a customer? I'm always conscious about overexposing myself. Okay, yeah, no, this is a really good question. So firstly, it depends on, are you offering a product or a service? If you're offering a product, you would have like I don't have a product at the moment. What I'm doing right now is a service with Remote Grad and Envision. But what I've seen people do with products is they use, on a lot of these platforms, they use like the kind of a refund policy template. So explaining when you can get a refund, when it's possible to get a refund, when it's not. In terms of a service, this is something I'm still learning. So based on my experience, it's important to have a contract where you kind of outline things. And just getting started, it's okay to use there's a few platforms like, I'll put it in the chat, Bonsai and PandaDoc, that have like templates for people who are doing freelancing when it comes to things that are a bit, there's not as black and white. But then I guess as you grow, then you would then get a lawyer. But I think a lot of these templates are really good at the beginning, because they have the terms and stuff set up in a way that is really general for freelancers if you're doing a service or something like that. Yeah, I think in the beginning it's really good to start off small and things like that, and as you grow, of course, you can then spend more time and money with lawyers. So thanks, Dean. So I'll put actually I've put it on the slides. Yeah, so thank you so much everyone for joining your time. I'm going to put the link so you can sign up to the Remote Grad newsletter, and also get a sneak peek in terms of the Remote Grad course. If you want to sign up for the course, feel free to have a look at remotegrad.io. And then, connect with me on LinkedIn, or you can create a post like showing what you've worked on and tag me in the post. Also tag Brookes Enterprise Support. But yeah, I think that's it. Okay, 6 minutes over, not too bad. I think that's good. Yeah, so thank you so much, everyone. It's been a pleasure. Really hope you've enjoyed it. Hope to see the different pages and side hustles and projects you come up with, because the world's really, I really love to say that the world's our oyster. This is a time to explore. And if you feel yourself becoming afraid or having like some of those limiting fears, just kind of say, what if it were easy? Like maybe my fears aren't actually, fears about so-and-so thing aren't actually right. I can actually do anything. And yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Nice. Okay, I think, do I hand it back over to you, Becca?
I think we've lost Becca, unfortunately. Her Wi-Fi's, I think, not that great. But thank you so much. It was so lovely to hear all of this, and it's really interesting. A lot that I'm sure we all learned. I think, do we want to take a picture and see if everyone can see the cameras?
Yes, please. I
can see. So if they would like to share their face, if not, that's all right. But just so we can take a picture and be really nice. I'll take a screenshot.
Yes, please. Thank you so much for all your lovely feedback. It's so lovely. I'm so glad you've all enjoyed it. Wow, thank you, Dean. That was the best Thrive presentation I've seen so far.
Let me see. If we stop sharing your screen and then we can do it. Okay. Well, I don't think anyone. Okay, there we go. We've got David on the camera, but no one else. But that's okay. I'll just take a screenshot. Great. Oh, there we go. Hi, Dean. There we go.
Oh, nice. Yay.
Yay.
The faces are appearing.
Perfect.
Oh, lovely to see you all.
Lovely. All right. So I'll take a screenshot. Everyone wants to smile. Okay. There we go. A bit anticlimactic, I'm sorry. But there we go. Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.